प्रोटीन बोला, एंटीऑक्सीडेंट बोला.
वापस बोल.
Ugh.
बोलेगी तू. You
Sound
you
can
didn't
also
be.
be yes.
No, no.
Shut up. The sound
No.
also can be yes.
No.
What nonsense.
You nonsense.
I think since you were feeling very sleepy throughout the day, Shagun, I think you deserve some coffee. Oh no.
Wait, are you guys taking a nap or what?
Yeah.
यहाँ पे मेहनत कर रहे कुछ लोग.
I'm sorry. हाँ, मैं बहुत मेहनत कर रही हूँ यार.
मैं इसकी बात नहीं कर रही थी. Bitch.
Your cellular health being I glitched, guys. I glitched. Cue to move to Italy. My life goal in life.
Greece.
I don't mind Japan also. Sushi.
हो चांगले. अपन अभी महाराष्ट्र में हैं.
Moshi moshi.
Hi and welcome back to yet another episode of Cuts, the Ayak podcast. And I'm your host, Shagun Arya. Today we have another podcast on a very, very interesting topic. But we have the same guest. Not to be sad about it. We have
I'm
Prerna
sorry, I'm
Shahani
sad about it.
back with us on popular demand. And she has forced me to say this. So welcome back.
Defeated the purpose.
Welcome back, Prerna.
I was happy to be here a minute ago. Now we just go along with it.
I will make you happier. That's a very... No.
PG-13, Shagun, PG-13.
Yes. So, Prerna, how do you feel being back? I won't call it the hot seat, but it's something.
I am honored and privileged that you've called me back, Shagun. And I'm actually quite excited to talk about our topic for today. It's quite a hot topic in general, so
Exactly.
I'm quite excited.
So, the topic that we're covering today, I think everybody is speaking about it right now, and it is longevity. And it's a very long topic.
That's
Pun
true.
intended, yeah. So we're gonna, I think we'll scratch the surface, we'll dive deeper, we'll do the best that we can. So, Prerna, first things first, what is longevity?
So the sense of the word is trying to live longer, but there's two concepts to it. It's health span and lifespan. So your lifespan is how long you live, but the health span means how long you live in those years is defined by if you can live without the presence of any chronic diseases or any disabilities. So essentially, people are trying to live longer, but the importance is that how well are you living in those years?
Yeah.
So it's important to focus more on your health span, that when you try to live longer, you're living a more fulfilling life, no illnesses, no chronic diseases that are cropping up, so that you have a good quality of life, basically.
I think what people are running behind, like you said, is the number of years that they're living. But the vitality with which they're living those years, that's, I think, more critical.
Exactly.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how much of longevity is actually in our control? Like, is it completely genetics, which I don't think that's the case, right? Or do lifestyle choices and all also trump the longevity battle?
That's a great question. Now, obviously, genetics are our foundation. They will have a role to play. But the environment is very important in which the genes express themselves. So if you're focusing on lifestyle factors, like you mentioned, like your diet, stress management, sleep, your immunity, exercise, obviously, then those genes can be kept in control. And sometimes you can even offset the negative risks that you might have of those genes that you have in your the genes that you're born with. It can trump over that. So genetics does have a role, but it's definitely the environment you're giving to your body which will have a majority of the impact, for sure.
And I always say this in my lectures also, that genetics might be like a loaded gun, but lifestyle is the trigger. Right?
Sure.
So anything like you said, even your lifestyle choices, they can offset your genes, but they can also prevent it.
Many habits, like our sleep, like trying to sleep too late, smoking, drinking, everyday things that are part of our daily life, all those habits are also making us live much of a shorter life than we could be because of the choices that we're making. So if those are in control, genetics will always take a backseat.
Fair. And if we're talking about longevity, we have to talk about our cellular health, right? So what does aging actually do to our cellular health?
Okay, so there's a few concepts here in terms of aging. Things like oxidative stress, inflammation, your metabolic health, all of these play a very big role. Now, oxidative stress is basically the production of free radicals, which again damage your cellular health. This will happen with the kind of diet that you have, smoking, drinking, all these things increase. The exposure to toxins, pollution, all these will increase oxidative stress in your body. With inflammation, if there's inflammatory foods that you're having, too many infections in the system, Again, like a lot of
toxins and all.
toxins, endocrine disruptors, all of that. If you're exposed to it a lot, your body will get inflamed. And actually, chronic low-grade inflammation is known as inflammaging. It's something that's damaging your cell health to a point where your mitochondria, which is what we know as the powerhouse of our cell, that's getting damaged. So the ability to repair cells, the ability for the cells to produce energy, which is what's most important for us to live longer, is your cells should continuously be working.
Yeah.
That's getting damaged at the lowest level.
I love the word though. I love the term inflammaging.
It is. That's what it's
Yeah.
called. It's a thing. So your oxidative stress, inflammation is playing a big role over there. With metabolic health, also it's important because things like fat storage or insulin resistance is important, because if those aren't in control, it can lead to a lot of chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, which again are going to shorten your lifespan and your health span. So your cellular health is going to be the basis of how you're going to be able to live a longer and more vital life.
So it's a very, of course, it's the most critical aspect of
Yeah.
when you look at longevity, right?
Correct.
And any tips that you think that can improve your cellular health?
Yeah, for sure. As your basics, obviously, we'll start with your food that you're putting into your body, because that is the fuel of your cells. So having more of a balanced meal, more protein, adding antioxidants, which are your fruits and vegetables, berries are
Yeah.
a great source of antioxidants. Lifestyle-wise, movement, activity is extremely important. Sedentary life is something that's going to make your cells age faster. They want movement, they want activity. And along with that, managing stress, having a purpose in life, being part of a community,
Yeah.
doing things that actually fuel you, like, things that you're passionate about, will make sure that your body sort of has all the foundational factors in place so that you can live longer and healthier.
And even sleep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sleep.
I think people are really not giving that much importance to sleep and how
Yeah.
what the quality of their sleep is like and how many hours are they getting, because I mean it really accelerates the aging of your cells if you're not getting good amount of sleep and good quality of sleep.
Because that's when you're sleeping is when the cell repair and
Yeah, there's
regeneration is happening.
regeneration. Yeah.
So if you're not giving your body those 8 hours, which is technically 1/3 of your day, you're not giving your body the time to be able to do the regeneration work, which is going to damage your cells much faster.
Fair, that's fair. And when we talk about longevity, I think there's a lot of talks and topics just floating around, right? So I know I've heard a laundry list of myths that are floating around, but what are the most common ones that you've come across?
Oh, so many. I think the first one is the more supplements you take, the longer you live.
Oh, yeah.
We know people taking like, 20, 25 supplements, and
More than that.
More than that, I
More
know,
than that,
but like,
yeah.
I think the main thing to say here is that no one pill or supplement can control how long you're going to live.
Which is why they're taking 50 of them.
Yeah, but not even 50 of them, because if you don't have your foundation in place, like how you said, sleep, food, exercise, your emotional health, if all of those aren't in place, the supplement, even exercise, like I said, this sedentary part of it, you can't offset that by taking 50 capsules in the day. So if those aren't in place, the supplements are going to be very irrelevant. So that is, I think, the main thing. Second thing that's cropping up is eating less, calorie restriction.
Yeah.
People are really being like, the lesser you eat, the longer you live. And it's not like that you can't restrict calories, but obviously if you're doing it in a way it's leading you to malnourishment and you're losing out on a lot of nutrients that your body requires to a point that you're getting deficient, you're doing worse to your health. You're not going to live longer. You're doing the opposite for your health.
And in fact, it just worsens all your hormonal productions, your thyroid, your reproductive health, all of that goes for a toss.
So that, and also I think people believe that you can't control aging. I'm not saying like the process is obviously inevitable, but you have a lot of control over the process of it and how much time it will take. You can obviously lengthen the time that it will take to be able to age. So you do have some amount of control on it, which is through your lifestyle factors.
So the health span comes in.
Yeah. So I think people believe that, oh, you're 40 and you're supposed to have at least 2 or 3 issues in your health cropping up, but that's not true. It's completely within our control.
So when we talk about our lifestyle, we're also looking at other factors which include your, of course, diet, sleep, exercise, all of that is very important. But I think in today's generation, in today's time, we are surrounded with something known as stress, right? I don't think I've met
anybody. To our last podcast, guys.
Yeah,
we spoke about that.
Mental health.
Yeah.
That's what we spoke about. But if we talk about stress, I don't think anybody at this point is immune to it, right?
Yeah.
So how can stress, chronic stress especially, affect the aging process? Can your mental and emotional aspect of health also kind of play an impact there?
I think we'll be able to answer this the best because, yeah, it does. I feel like when you're experiencing a lot of chronic emotions, the negative ones at least, like anger, anxiety, things like jealousy, all of it overall can increase your stress hormone, which is cortisol, which we spoke about at length last time. And the more of this hormone that your body has, the more your body's going to go into fight mode, which is basically like it's just trying to survive. It's not doing its normal processes that it's meant to be doing.
Yeah.
That will again lead to more inflammation, cellular health will degrade, your hormones will go out of balance because cortisol is one of the main hormones as well. So you're just causing a full havoc in your body. And at that point, your body is not trying to do things that will help you live longer. It's just trying to survive in that moment.
Yeah.
So your emotional aspect, things like focusing on having a positive outlook on life, doing things for stress management, like meditation, breath work, speaking to somebody like a loved one.
Even community.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
this, I
Like
mean,
that's I said, sense of purpose and belonging is very important. So if those aren't in place, you're basically one of the foundational pillars will sort of take a hit.
Yeah.
And then it will impact, how long you can live, and even the length of that life needs to be, like I said, like full with, people and beautiful feelings, basically. So you don't want to live that long life with those negative
Loneliness,
emotions.
yeah.
So emotional health, mental health, all of it plays a very big role in the process of longevity.
That's fair, because I think what most of the people also don't understand is the fact that our body is very smart, right? It's built that way. So if your nervous system is in a constant state of stimulation, it's constantly stressed all over the time. So it will adapt to that thing, okay? And that just becomes a way of living for you. And that is not good, like she mentioned, right? It's not good for your cellular health. It's not going to help at any point to actually make you live with a good vitality.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and that actually brings me to my next question, that, see, I've seen a few people who might be 70 or 80 and they look as if they're 30s,
Yeah.
40s. That
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
a stretch, but okay, 40s
Yeah,
or
yeah.
50s.
I know what you're
yeah.
saying.
But there's also a set of people
Yeah.
who might be just 30 or 40, but
But-
they might be looking
Yeah.
like they've reached their retirement age.
Correct.
So, what could be the factors behind this?
Many of them. So obviously the basic was genetics that we spoke about, but the things that are within our control.
But I think, I mean, sorry to cut you off, but genetics, I think, would be a very minor percentage of it, like
very
20, 30%.
Very, very.
Yeah.
I think since we've spoken about food, I'll come to exercise now
Yeah.
because we believe that exercise is just like to lose the weight, look fit, and get in shape, but it's doing way more than that in your body. It's strengthening your bones, it's building muscle, your cardiovascular health is improving. Your joints are being sort of mobile and flexible. All of these really add to the fact that your body can carry your weight for however long that you want to live, and it's a very important factor. And so the kind of exercise also is important. Like most people are like, I go for a walk. Obviously that's a great thing to do, but like strength training is important. Some amount of cardio where you're actually using your heart and lungs and maximizing their endurance capacities is also important. So the kind of exercise we do, plus how physically active you are throughout the day, so just being active, walking around, not sitting in a place throughout the day, that plays a huge impact. Along with that, obviously your habits, because smoking and alcohol are the two things that increase oxidative stress.
Yeah.
And I spoke about how they
Drastically so.
yeah, and how they increase free radicals, which will just damage your cellular health at an innate level.
And oxidative stress, I think, if like to lay it out in layman terms, it's like it acts like rust to the body. It
Yeah.
just damages it
Decay,
slowly
absolutely.
and does decay, absolute
Yeah.
decay. Yeah.
And I feel like most people aren't even checking how they're doing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people who are getting like
Their blood
half
work
yearly
done,
blood work
yeah.
done to be able to see, because a lot of panels that you can get tested to see if you're on the path to longevity or not. Things like your inflammatory panel, which is your HSCRP and ESR, things to check for oxidative stress, which is your GGT levels in the liver, and also uric acid. And overall, even your lipid panel, like, understanding how your lipid levels are doing also gives you a good, fair idea, and then accordingly you can work on your health. So I think people are in that sort of area of ignorance. They're not taking care of their health,
There's a
but they
bliss
think,
there, yeah.
they think they're doing everything right, but it's actually not, going in their favor.
Because it's
basically.
cute to see that people will go to the gym and they'll think that, oh, we're gonna live a better life now, but that's not the complete picture that you're looking at.
Correct, yeah. And plus with that sleep, like how you mentioned upon that also, that Your 1/3 of your day is going into restorative repair of your body. So that's also important, and people aren't prioritizing it as much.
I actually want us to talk more about this. Like, what role does sleep have with aging? Nobody would have thought that if I'm having good sleep, I'm going to live longer. I mean, that's the ideal goal for a lot of
I
us.
know.
I get you guys. But what is the significance?
So with sleep, when you're sleeping, the body releases a hormone known as melatonin, which is actually an antioxidant.
Okay.
So all that oxidative stress that's built up over the day for you, melatonin that's being produced is trying to combat it, which is again helping your cells regenerate, repair, and overall boosting mitochondrial function. And as we age, mitochondrial function does decline. So the more it's being able to be boosted while we sleep for those 7-8 hours and good quality sleep, you're basically making sure that when you're awake, you're living longer. So it's important.
So, guys, word from the expert: sleep more, sleep better,
Sleep
and
on
live
time.
longer.
And I think before we move on, we can speak about circadian rhythm also, because people are sleeping 8 hours, but then it's in the completely wrong. But following the sun is also a great way of making sure your cellular health is being boosted. So yeah, eating and sleeping according to the sun is very important as well, not just eating the correct food and sleeping at the correct number of hours.
Okay. So we've spoken about sleep, we've spoken about food as well. Something that I think I would like to talk about is also immune health, right? Because I need to know your opinion on this. That for somebody who falls sick very often is not might not have the best of immunity. Like, of course, I would assume that their lifespan has been
100%
Yeah.
compromised. That's because if you're getting sick very often and your immune system is not being able to fight it, firstly, your immune system is not strong enough. And to build anything in your body needs raw materials. For the human body, it's nutrients. So if you're lacking nutrients, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, your immune system is going to be weakened. When that happens, you're basically giving free entry to all infections and pathogens and toxins into your body. And as soon as they've entered your body, obviously your body is trying to save you, but in the process, it's going to get inflamed. There's going to be stress buildup that's happening, and your immune system is not capable of fighting that stress. So it can lead to, again, like we said, inflammation. Your inflammation will be so chronic that there's no way to sort of mitigate it. Unless the person really works on the kind of food that they're having, works on the nutrient deficiencies, takes herbs to kill the infections. And also, if infections aren't looked after, it after a point can lead to autoimmunity also, where your immune system loses the capability of understanding what is their foreign cell and what's your own cells.
Yeah.
And once that's happening, you're basically killing your own cells. And then mitochondrial function, everything gone. Like if your cellular health is damaged, then longevity doesn't come into the picture whatsoever.
True. So, I mean, all of these things, this scary enough, right? But it also leads me to believe that is this actually something that might not be for all, like talking about longevity, looking at it from a socio-economic factor, right? Is this just something that the rich can afford, or is it like, can we do something for, is it like for everybody?
So the socio-economic factor will come into place because someone who's doing more well financially will have access to better healthcare, access to a cleaner diet, access to better supplements, access to just better living conditions in general, which somebody from a lower paying grade capacity will not have. The living conditions itself will be compromised. So in that scenario, even if they're looking after, say, exercise and sleep and food, there's still those some of the pillars that are shaky. So it's not to say that, it's not impossible for them to live longer, but obviously the financial aspect of it just makes it a little bit easier because you have even better education actually. The awareness, the education about things like longevity is also something that's mainly what the privileged have. So it does play a very important role.
I know. I mean, and it's sad to think about that people in our country specifically, the cost of healthcare, the quality of healthcare is compromised. I mean, it's not the best. And if we look at it, even the living conditions of somebody who might not be having
sanitation, hygiene.
That's sad actually, because it's not something. It's not very complicated, to be very honest. Right? Like the science of living longer and healthier, it's not complicated. It's just that the basics for us aren't right. It's just not there.
Exactly.
And that's sad. But if we look at it on the other end, right, there's, I mean, looking at you dressed in blue, there's also something known as blue zones. Okay, there are like,
oh, I played it right.
Yeah. Nice. So you look like a blue zone right now. I hope you live longer. But there are regions on Earth where people really do live longer. So what do they have right there?
So the blue zones actually are basically these geographical regions where people live longer because of the lifestyle that they live, the kind of food that they eat, how much activity they have, the sense of purpose because they are very rooted in their familiar traditions and the cultural traditions that they have over there. And again, a lot of them follow the process of fasting, which I think we can touch upon as well. But these are the main there are 5 blue zones. So there's Italy, there's Japan, there's Costa Rica, there is some regions in US. So these geographical regions, basically the 5 of them, there's Greece, there's Italy, there's Japan, there's Costa Rica, and there's some regions of US. So they eat a lot of whole foods, unprocessed foods, very fresh food. That's the main thing for the aspect that contributes to the longevity. In terms of activity, they live a very slow life. So the processes
Oh, wow.
of gardening and cycling,
Okay.
and it's very active
Yeah.
overall as compared to how
Very
we are
good for the
just
nervous system.
yeah, very good for the nervous system, and you're also like moving your body throughout the day in some ways or the other. They also live according to the sun, and their dinners are done by like 5:30, which really boosts cellular regeneration throughout the night. So things like that, and like I said, being part of a community,
Yeah.
they have a lot of close social bonds. Social activity is a very big deal
In
over
Japan,
there.
I've really
Meeting
read-
up
yeah.
and just feeling like you belong. That gives you a sense of purpose also, like the reason to keep living longer. So those factors are what make them the blue zones for longevity.
So, help us out in telling us what could be the key nutrients or good foods that can actually help somebody live longer.
All right. Starting off strong, I think fiber. Having a lot of vegetables and fruits and good quality of it, different kinds, diverse kinds, will really boost not only fiber but also polyphenolic content,
Even the
antioxidants.
minerals, antioxidants, yeah.
All of it will just basically strengthen your cellular and mitochondrial function. Along with that, your vitamins and minerals, which will again come from a variety of sources: your pulses, your grains,
Fruits and vegetables.
nuts. I was going to say
Yeah.
nuts. So those are important. And one special mention over here would be your healthy fats. So your omega-3 fatty acids, which you get from non-veg sources, eggs, and even your olive oil.
Yeah.
These basically are anti-inflammatory in nature.
And good seafood and
Yeah,
all also.
all, yeah. So if inflammation is the one that's causing the aging, then omega-3 fatty acids basically become anti-aging.
And I think another one would be good quality of protein.
Protein, yeah. And like bioavailable, that's what I think what we mean is that you want to be eating protein that your cells can actually absorb and use, and it's not going to waste. So that kind of protein mainly coming from non-vegetarian sources. And along with that, it's important to mention that it's better to restrict as much of refined foods as you can, because they're devoid of any nutrition. They're just adding to your sugar, fat, and oil.
Empty calories and all that.
Yeah, so it's just adding to that, and it's degrading your cellular health.
Okay.
So
And I mean, diet is one aspect, exercise is another. But which is more important between the two, or there's no comparison?
See, both are very, very important. But one thing I like to say is that a clean diet you can't negate the fact that even if you're eating a clean diet, you're living a sedentary life. So the part of exercise you can't undo. It still needs to be an important part. You still need to be active throughout the day. Even if you're eating the cleanest, that one pillar will have to still be there. It can't go without. So it needs to be a combination of both. It can't be one without the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by exercise, we just don't mean that you go in the gym and you just, I mean, that's a very good form of exercise for sure. But if that's not your thing, it could mean any form of movement till the time it's there in your routine.
For sure. Low impact things like, swimming, walking also count.
Swimming is not low impact. I mean,
It's gentle on the bones, right? Because you're in the water. Your joints don't take the hit. So something like that, and even like I said, strength training, cardio, even doing basic mobility, stretching.
yoga and all
Yeah,
that,
very, very important.
Sports.
Very important.
So, are there any workouts that you've read about that are beneficial or more beneficial for anti-aging?
So what I have seen also in general is the combination. You have to have the correct combination where you're also building your muscle, where you're doing the gym and weightlifting and body weight training, very important. You're also training your heart, which is via cardio. So that your heart is also a muscle. So a good amount of cardio is also important, because the more your lung and heart capacity increase, the longer it will be able to pump oxygen for you over your life. That's important to help with the joints. Like I said, doing things like yoga and calisthenics all will help make sure you're flexible and mobile. the risk of injury later in life is reduced. So combination, obviously what works for your body, your health goals and your weight, your height, all of that has to be taken into consideration. But a combination works the best. There's not one or the other.
So that's fair. I agree with the fact that a combination of exercises should be something that
Yeah.
we should be
Focusing on. Yeah.
on and targeting ourselves with. So something very commonly that I've heard from people around is that if you want to live longer, you need to fast more, right? So is that something that you've heard, and what's your opinion about this?
I have, and it's actually a very, very good technique if done correctly. Let me give that disclaimer.
Yeah.
Now, what fasting does is that it boosts a process known as autophagy, which is basically your body shoves out any damaged and dead cells and ensures that regeneration of new cells are happening. So it's basically cleaning up internally your mitochondrial function, overall whatever oxidative stress there might be that have killed your cells. It's cleaning those up and making sure new, better quality cells are being produced for you. And that happens when you're not eating. Okay, the body is not digesting food. That's when autophagy actually happens.
Because it's not focusing on the process of digestion.
Exactly. And you want to boost autophagy as much as possible, which is why those people are fasting 16 hours, 20 hours. Great way to do it. But again, with circadian rhythm, because I know a lot of people who are doing the fasting but like eating directly at 12 o'clock and skipping their first meal and just having black coffee. That is the wrong way to fast because your body does need fuel first thing in the morning. So if done correctly, like you're eating according to the sun, and like if you're finishing dinner by like say 5 and then eating the next morning when you're waking up, and that way you're having 16 hours of a fast, you're boosting autophagy, which will really, really help improve your cell quality. And along with that, what it also does is it improves metabolic flexibility, which basically means that your body can efficiently switch between it using fuel, either carbohydrates as food or fat as fuels. So you want your body to be able to use fat, with that stored fat, as its fuel source when glucose is not being provided. And that'll happen when you are fasting.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, you're basically working on insulin sensitivity, how your body is reacting to any incoming glucose, fat storage gets impacted. So all the good things happen when you do fast, but correctly. So it's a great way to boost mitochondrial health.
And I think we need to also emphasize on the fact that when you're fasting, okay, there's a window that you eat in, which we call the feasting window. So that feasting window should not be dysregulated in the sense that you're just eating anything that comes in front of you, and that includes junk and everything. So in that time that you're eating, even if it's the shortest of all windows, you should be giving nutrient dense and good quality of food rather than just putting and eating according to cravings maybe, or if you're not used to it, your cravings will jump in.
And you have to make sure that in the eating window, you're trying to get as much of your nutrients as possible, so that again, the malnutrition and deficiencies don't crop up just because you're trying to fast, because you're doing it for longevity, but because you're getting deficiencies, it'll do the opposite. So it has to be guided and needs to be something that's done, in the correct manner for your body.
Fair. And these are all things, Prerna, that I feel that we can personally, we have a lot of control on, we can modify it and everything, which is a good sign, right? These are factors that you can actually really work upon yourself. But there's also the factor of your environment, which might not completely be in our control. So all these environmental toxins and all that, all the pollution that's there, the microplastics and all that, how does all of that impact our longevity?
So obviously we're surrounded with them. There's no way to, obviously you can try to reduce your exposure to microplastics as much as you can, to like, switching to having organic food so that the possibility of pesticide and insecticide exposure is as low as possible.
So small steps we can still take.
Yeah, it's all in your control. The ones that are in your control, you try to manage. The things that are not in your control, like air pollution, there's still small things like, using an air filter, using your masks, things like that you can still help with. But having said that, you have to be, because with all these toxins, we're basically overloading the liver to detoxify your body. So after a point, your liver will get overburdened. So we have to keep helping the liver, keep having these detoxification strategies in our daily lifestyle, supplements that will help with detoxification. You should have them incorporated so that you're basically aiding your liver to help detoxify these things that are a little bit out of our control.
And I think that's a very good point, because yes, a lot of these factors might not be in our control, but most of the mitigating steps we can still take.
100%. Like cleaning your fruits and vegetables properly, even if they aren't from an organic source.
Using the right chopping board, something as basic as that also.
Like all of that, even the cosmetics you're using at home,
Yeah.
things that are endocrine disrupting, you know, the creams
care
and
products,
yeah,
all of
personal care
that.
products, all of those deodorants, etc. So as long as you're making sure that whatever's in your control you are managing, it's
You're saving yourself
definitely
from a lot of
controllable.
damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I know that we've been speaking about longevity, and why this has suddenly cropped up as a topic for a lot of people is because, I mean, you talk to anybody and say that, hey, you want to live longer? I mean, I don't think anybody would say no,
No, yeah.
right? But you want to live healthier? A lot of people would just be like, I'm not sure
I
if I have
want
the
to, but I don't know
discipline.
how to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, are there any advancements in the field of longevity that are actually going to shape the future, and how can we make use of it?
Loads. So at least I think currently the concept of functional nutrition is picking up because
Yeah.
people are understanding that if there is an issue that has cropped up in our health, we have to get to the bottom of it, which is
And I
the root
love it's
cause.
preventative healthcare, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's root cause approach. You figure
yeah.
out what the problem is and then accordingly apply the solutions to get rid of it. So it's more personalized, it's more precise. You're tailoring it to a person's actual, needs that the body has, which obviously the body thanks you for because healing is sped up in that way. That's something that's coming up. With that, we also have something known as gene therapy that is being researched about, which is basically methods to be able to edit the genes that you're born with so that the genetic risk factors that you're born with get mitigated. It's sort of being researched upon heavily. Something else that I've read about is your stem cell therapy, right? So stem cells are basically placental cells, which are regeneration capacity for them is very, very high. So if administered, your body's repair capacity, organ regeneration capacity increases. So that's cropping up. And along with that, I think people also now are focusing on IV therapies a lot.
Yeah.
So the main one is NAD+, which is your nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. So that basically NAD+ is basically a cofactor in your energy pathways.
Metabolism process.
So when you administer this, your mitochondrial function boosts because of which they can produce more energy, basically energizing all your cells. So you feel much more energized.
Revitalized.
Yeah, revitalized, exactly. So that's picking up quite a bit. I think a lot of clinics are coming up where they're offering a lot of different kinds of IV therapies. And along with that, people are, like we spoke about fasting. Fasting is being imposed quite heavily for anyone who wants to achieve longevity in the correct way, correct manner. But people are researching autophagy more and more to figure out what's the correct sort of timeline that you need to be fasting for. That's another thing. And lastly, there are a lot of supplements. We spoke about not one of them will obviously help, but if your pillars are in place, then there are a lot of supplements that are anti-aging in nature, which can be incorporated like glutathione, resveratrol, again, NAD also you get as a supplement. So if incorporated, that can also help with promoting longevity.
Yeah. So all in all, if I have to conclude in what all we've spoken about till now, is the fact that if you're looking to achieve longevity as a whole, it's not one thing that'll work for you.
Yeah.
That if you take like those weekly IV treatments, so you're doing a lot of therapies, gene therapies and all, I mean, it's not out yet.
Yeah, and it's all
Yeah.
one time, right? You can't
Yeah.
keep doing IV therapies again and again. If a foundation is shaky, then none of these things will add on to it. It needs to be the basic.
And your
first.
epigenetic factors, which is basically how your environment, your diet, your lifestyle, exercise, all of those have the majority impact on your, like she said, cellular health. And that's a very key factor when you have to achieve longevity. So all of that is very important, right?
For sure.
So do not mistake this as something that we're just saying कि आपको एक pill लेने से आप चलो 50 pill लेने से भी you're going to achieve a longer life, a healthier life.
Unfortunately, no.
Not at all. And in fact, healthy life chalo achieved, very good. Longer life achieved, very, very good. But community, right? We cannot emphasize enough on the fact that if you have a sense of belonging, if you have a sense of being and a sense of purpose in your life, that really drives you. Okay, and that is very critical to actually achieve a better health span.
For sure.
Right? And what are your thoughts about this?
So, with the sense of belonging, you're basically regulating your nervous system, right? You're giving your body that comfort zone, that safe space that it has. We're not
And
meant
it
to be.
needs.
Yeah, we're not meant to be living in isolation. We are a community in general. So you give your system that support is available, support is there. You have things that can give you those joyful feelings. So that is important, and unless that's there is no reason to live longer. So the main thing is that the life that you're creating for yourself is that's going to drive you to be able to achieve longevity.
And in today's digital age, I think everybody is just so hooked onto their screens, and like they might be reading and learning more about things in general through the screens, but that's not the end all of everything that's there for your health and for your being, right? So
Yeah.
it's very, very important that you engage in meaningful conversations, meaningful connections, so that actually your quality of life becomes so much better.
Because that's what you're living longer for,
Yeah.
right? To pursue your passions, see people grow around
Yeah,
you, grow in
otherwise,
yourself.
why are you living longer?
Why
That's
are
the
you living
first.
Yeah, you're living
That's a
longer.
fundamental question. Why do you want to live longer? You want to live longer for somebody,
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
For yourself, for your pursuits, to see other people around you, the way that they're growing their journeys. So I think that feeling of connection is
Very
one of
critical.
the important
Yeah.
things to be focused upon.
So on that emotional note, we move on to the fun part, which is known as our gutsy shots. Okay, and she has PTSD.
Yeah.
Not in a very lighter term, but
No, not that way.
Yeah.
I like my mirchis.
yeah, she loves her mirchis, and we backed with some for her. So, and I think I don't know why I get an intuition, I'll always get the ACV nightmare. So, we back with our gutsy shots, and you know the drill.
I know the
Right.
drill. Let's go.
And if you are our regular listener, then you'd know what comes next. But if in case you're not, it's basically that we'd be asked certain questions and we have to answer them. And it's like a rapid fire of sorts. And we
Coffee
have
with
to
current
buzz.
rip-off.
Like I say, Dharavi version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to buzz, and that noise has to come from our mouth. And if you answer correctly, well and good, you torture the other person. If not, then you torture yourself. Yeah, fair?
Ready.
So, just because you like all that bling and you like coffee with Karan, we also have the coffee shot again. Just for you, we've got it back. But apart from that, we have the healthy shot.
Yay.
That's fine. Then we have the concentrated salt shot. That's your adrenal shot. And then we have the concentrated ACV shot. God bless us for that. And then we have your favorites, which is mirchi.
Mirchi, I'm fine with.
That I'll give you as a sweet treat only. Ek answer wala de de.
Yeah, that sounds good. Fair.
Take it. Just let me answer everything correctly. Okay, let's go. Yeah, it does. So we've spoken about, I think you've answered how inflammation can accelerate your aging process and even oxidative stress and
Yeah.
mitochondrial dysfunction. So
Yes.
just for that, go for the ACV shot.
Okay, this is one of the things that helps with your cellular health because oxidative stress is what it's
I'll give
removing.
it on your desk every day.
Yay, thanks. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm used to having ACV. It's part of my normal routine, guys.
Okay.
Beep. No.
She beeped first.
No.
Okay.
It's not. You need a balanced diet, you need enough of good proteins, but you also need your carbs because they fuel your cells. You don't want to deprive your cells of any energy. And the keto diet was actually designed for chronic condition, which is epilepsy, and it's not meant to be taken by everybody universally.
Yeah.
On that note, Mirchi is yours, sweet treat.
Really? I
Sweet
thought
treat.
you would have wanted to save it for yourself.
I would enjoy it, Nashagun. You wouldn't. It's fun to see you squirm.
Torture.
Nice big bite. Big bite. Hey, hello. Just a fair tip, the lamba mirchis are never mirchi. You need the short ones.
The fire inside me would disagree.
On that note, I think I've won because she's unable to speak anymore. So let's.
I'm crippled. I'm crippled. Yes. Sorry. Sorry. No, sorry.
Yes, beep, yes, beep, yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Beep,
Oh.
beep, yes.
Wasn't the cuff a sound before that?
No,
Yeah,
I thought you were actually choked.
Yeah,
I got
choked.
scared.
God was on my side.
I got scared. Oh my
You
god.
snooze, you lose.
I got scared for her life.
The cuff helped me, guys. So yes, it does.
Explanation.
That's the answer. I mean, high levels of iron in the body is not something that you would want, and it can act like as a chocolate for infection. So that's not ideal. So no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beep yes.
No,
Beep yes. You
no,
don't.
she
You
confused-
also
she
said
confused
yes.
me.
You also said
Yeah,
yes.
but you confused
Beep
me.
yes.
You
Come
confused
on.
me.
Beep yes. Huh.
You beep.
Beep yes. Is the antioxidant that your body produces endogenously, and as you age, oxidative stress increases and your body's glutathione levels do get depleted. So it is a hallmark of aging. Okay. You can take the salt.
Salts.
Salty. What's up for a salty woman?
Salty. I love being salty.
You'll be more of it now. The salt is all at the bottom. Nothing she has ingested.
You want some?
No.
I'll rub it on your wounds. Okay, next question, please. Beep. Yes. It does. I mean, if you have good gut health, it's one of the foundational pillars to your vitality in health. So it's not just about mitochondrial health as well. It's also about your gut health. So if you don't have any infections in the gut, you have good amounts of probiotics and no leaky gut and no infections as such, you will actually have a better chance at longevity.
For sure.
Yes. So just for your gut, a healthy shot, please.
I've gotten all good things only.
Yeah, yeah. We only give good things.
I like it.
Farewell.
Cheers.
Chug, chug, chug. And just because you played so well, Prerna, and just because you took majority of the shots, this is my gift to you. Yes.
Yeah.
She's a happy kid now.
Award. Guys, thank you.
Like,
Appreciate it.
So I had a good run today with my gutsy shots. Thank you, Prerna, for being
Gutsy.
yeah, for being gutsy and taking all those shots and being here with us on the podcast. It's a pleasure, and it was a very interesting topic. And I hope you all also had so much fun listening to it and learned so much from it. And of course, if you have any questions, you can comment down below. So today was a good day for me. That is because I took lesser shots. Thank you so much, Prerna, for being more gutsy and taking more shots.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And thank you so much for talking to us on
Thank you.
such an important topic and something that everybody is talking about these days. So I hope you had fun, and it's always a pleasure
Thank
having
you.
you with us. And I hope you guys also had fun listening to us. If you have any questions, you know the drill. Just comment down below and we'll get back to you. And stay tuned for our next podcast.